Hey guys, welcome back once again to the world of English exams. In this video, we shall understand how to write a good report for the question type diagram or process. So if you are a student and you are writing the IELTS academic test, then you might have known that there are 8 different types of questions which you have to practice before attempting the main exam, especially for the writing test. And this video is going to be of immense help if you are planning to learn the step-by-step structure of how to write a report. So without any further delay, let's start today's video. The IELTS academic writing test is divided into 2 tasks. The first one is a report. This is called task 1, wherein you write a brief and concise summary of a pictorial representation, which may be graphical or it may be a process or something like that, and you are going to write a report to the university lecturer. So this is task 1, and the time given to complete this task is approximately 20 minutes. However, you can plan the time, but the overall time given for the writing test is 60 minutes. So if you are taking more time for task 1, please do manage the time for task 2 and see that you are completing both the tasks within the time frame. Then moving on to task 2, which is an essay. The topic will be more or less academically oriented, but it is not a topic which you will not be aware of. So it is a common topic. Now, we have already uploaded a series of videos for essay writing on our YouTube channel World of English Exams, and we also have started uploading the videos for task 1, both for academic as well as for general training. So if you wish to know the information along with the detailed structure and an example question, do not delay and subscribe to our YouTube channel World of English Exams. So now let's see how many types of reports are there and what are some of the important points that you have to note while preparing for this question type. There are basically 8 different types of reports which you have to prepare. You may see any one of them or a combination of these reports in the final test. The first one is called bar chart. The second one is pie chart. Third one is line graph. Fourth one is table. The next one is process or diagram, the structure for which is being discussed in this video. Then there is life cycle, flow chart and combinations, which may involve similar combinations, that is 2 bar charts or 2 pie charts or 2 line graphs or something like that, or it may be a dissimilar combination wherein you can see a bar chart with a pie chart, or let's say a bar chart with line graph and so on. So make sure that you're practicing at least 10 different models for all these question types, and you can post your comments below in the comment section if you wish to get your reports evaluated along with detailed written feedback. So now let's see what are the points to remember while writing the structure for process or diagram. So the basic points are: write at least 150 words. This is very important, guys. So minimum of 150 words must be written, and the examiner who is going to evaluate your answer sheets is definitely going to check for this factor. And if at all this word count is not satisfied, then it is deemed to be underlength, which is one of those factors for which you may receive a penalty, or the score may be lowered. So do count the number of words, and just to make sure, guys, you don't need to write the word count anywhere in the answer sheet. Then moving on to the next important point, use the appropriate sequencing words. Now here you are illustrating the various steps or stages that you see in a process or a diagram. So make sure that all the points, all the stages are well reported, and this can only be possible if you use the right sequencing words. This is a very important criterion for map, or let's say diagram, process and such type of questions have to follow a sequence. What are some of the examples of sequencing words? Some of the examples are the first step, the second step, next, the following step, followed by this, eventually, in the next stage, in the last stage, in the final step. So all such words are indicators that which show that the process is flowing. You are following a sequence of description. Then moving on to the next one. Interpret and describe the sequence of steps as seen in the figure. So definitely the sequence will be illustrated, will be depicted in the figure, and please do not deviate from that. So please follow whatever you see, and the order is very, very important, because only if the process happens from one stage to another will the desired result be seen. Now the next point, avoid writing additional details which you do not see. Let's say, for example, you see the process of preparing tea, or how tea is manufactured. So you do not need to write any unnecessary or additional details like what are the health benefits of tea, and maybe where are the places where tea is grown and all that. So whatever you see in the diagram should be illustrated, should be described. Do not write any unnecessary or additional details even if you are aware of that process. Just stick to what you see in the diagram. Then moving on to the next one, follow a proper structure while writing. Yes, so since you are going to describe a report, and you should imagine that the person who is going to read this report is not familiar or aware about the topic. So you have to explain in such a way that a person who is not aware of the structure should also come to know about the process. So such a clear explanation is required. Then moving on to the final point, you do not need to write any conclusions or opinions. So do not draw any conclusions, guys. And as a matter of fact, none of the band descriptors will give you the factor that you have to write a conclusion. So in fact, you are going to write something called an overview which sums up the context. Okay, so you don't need to write any conclusion. So please bear these points in your mind while preparing for the academic writing task 1 for the question type, diagram, process, or let's say flow chart. Now I am going to teach you a 5-step method that can help you in writing a very good report. Indeed, the same strategy may also be followed while writing an essay. So let's check that out. So as you can see, the 5-step strategy is named as the power strategy. POWER. So these are the 5 steps that you need to follow while writing a report. The first stage is called planning, where you decide, where you see the report question which is given and you interpret, you draw some ideas from that and you sequence everything. Then the next step is organize. After you have interpreted the diagram, it is very important to organize the ideas as to which stage comes after which stage. So that is very important, and this stage is called organizing. The next one is writing. Please do follow this structure. Do not start writing as and when you see the question, because what happens if you are getting a new and improved strategy is you may have to go back, erase it and rewrite it. So all of this is going to be time taking, and the process is going to be much more clumsier. So we don't want to do that. First we have to plan, then we have to organize, then start writing. After you have written, evaluate what you have written, which means check for grammatical errors. If you feel that you have written too many simple sentences, then this time must be taken as an opportunity to correct them, and make sure that you're writing a wide range of sentences like simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and passive sentences, conditionals and all that. So make sure that you have a wide range of sentences as well as you use topic related vocabulary. Finally, the last stage in the power strategy is reviewing. That is checking for words, or it's just like the final view to confirm that you have addressed the task completely. Okay, so now I hope you have understood what are the different types of reports, important points and the strategy. Now, To help you in writing a very good structure, I would recommend these steps or this structure. The structure should contain the following paragraphs. The first one is introduction, wherein you outline the main thing, whatever you see, or you paraphrase that given question in your own words without changing the meaning. So you have to rewrite the given question prompt in your own words without altering the meaning of the sentence. Then the next paragraph is called overview. Please do not skip this paragraph, as it is very essential to outline the significant features that you see. The overview should contain the main points as you see, but you should not describe this stage in detail. Here you have to highlight what are the significant points, like if there are any significant fluctuations or variations, and in this type of report there are no fluctuations, so you give the first stage and the last stage briefly, that's it. So you do not need to outline all the stages. In the body paragraphs we are going to describe each and every stage in detail. However, in the overview, you just need to tell where the process is going to begin and where it is going to end. That's it. Then followed by two body paragraphs. The two body paragraphs may vary depending on the type of report that we are writing. In this figure, let's see how to divide the body paragraphs and on what basis we are able to write two different body paragraphs which are related to the diagram and interrelated to each other. So this is the structure which follows an introduction, overview, body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. Then let's analyze a sample question. So this is the diagram what we see, and let's look at the given question. The diagram below shows how geothermal energy is used to produce electricity. So the diagram is outlining the process of electricity generation using geothermal energy as the source. Okay, so now let's see what are the various stages here. And can you see that below this question prompt there is one instruction given to you? Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features. As such, you are not supposed to give a detail of everything whatever you see, just you are going to highlight and describe the process so that it is understandable to the reader, and make comparisons where relevant. So making comparisons is definitely important because it shows your ability to connect the ideas and to sequence them one after the other. Now let me enlarge this and show it to you so that you get a clear idea while writing and while interpreting. Okay, so now I hope it is much better and you are able to visualize the diagram. So let's see that what are the various stages that you can see here. The first stage is cold water. Can you see something called cold water here? Then this cold water is then passed into maybe an injection well which is 4.5 kilometer below the ground level. Then cold water is being pumped down, as you can see. Then the second stage is injection wall, through which it is passing through a geothermal zone. Geothermal zone is where hot rocks are there or hot rocks are present, and what happens to this cold water if it passes through hot rocks? It gets heated up. Then eventually the next stage is where the hot water is then pumped up through the production well. Through the production well. Then it is passed into the condenser, and this condenser is going to allow the hot water to get condensed, and it releases the steam, which is nothing but water vapor. This steam is then passed into the turbine, which you can see the turbine is rotating continuously, and due to the process of this the energy is generated or the electricity is generated, which is then passed to the electrical grid. So the tower-like structure, what you can see here, is called electrical grid. So from this electrical grid, through the cables, the electricity is transmitted to different power stations or houses or something else. So this is the process of geothermal energy, which is briefly divided into 5 stages. First one, pumping the cold water down, then passing through the geothermal zone, then through the production well, the hot water gets pumped up, then the 4th stage is condensation, 5th stage is electricity generation. So this is what we have analyzed. Ideally, it should take around 2 to 3 minutes for you to analyze this. So once you have sequenced the stages one after the other, let's look at how to write this. And I'm going to show you a very good structure outlining the introduction, overview and body paragraphs for this question. So now let's see how to write the introduction. Please do not give too many details in the introduction. All you have to do is paraphrase the given question. So the given question here is, the diagram below shows how geothermal energy is used to produce electricity. Now the same question can be rewritten like this. The given diagram depicts the process of producing electricity using geothermal energy in a power plant. So this is how to write the paraphrase of the given question prompt. If you observe carefully, I have not modified anything. I have represented the given title in my own words without changing the meaning. And maybe you can use synonyms to make the sentence structure look better. That's it. So once again I am reading it. The given diagram depicts the process of producing electricity using geothermal energy in a power plant. Now what did we analyze here? We analyzed that there are 5 steps in the process, which begins by pumping down the cold water, and the last stage is generation of electricity or production of electricity from the generator. So this is what I have to write in the overview. And remember, the overview paragraph should always begin with the cohesive linker overall. Please use this because it gives a clear-cut idea that you are moving on from the introduction to the overview. So overall, there are 5 stages in the process, starting from the pumping down of the cold water to the production of power by the generator. So instead of using the word electricity, I have synonymized it to power. So what have we outlined here? We have informed the reader that there are 5 stages in the process, which starts from pumping down the cold water to the production of power from the generator, by the generator. That's it. So now how do we group the body paragraphs? Let's go back to the diagram. If you observe the diagram carefully, you can see that stages from 1, 2 and 3 are happening below the ground level. If you look at the last 2 stages, that is pumping up the water and production of power, these 2 stages are happening above the ground level. So immediately it should occur to us that we can divide the body paragraphs into 2 based on this factor. That is the 3 stages which are happening below the ground level and the last 2 stages which are happening above the ground level. So on the basis of that, let's use some sequencing words to make sure that the body paragraphs are aligned very well and they are paragraphical. Remember not to write the bullet points here. So this is an essay, this is an report which has to be written in a paragraphical way. Okay, so let's start. In the first stage, the cold water is pumped 4.5 kilometers below the ground level. Can you see here? So the cold water is pumped 4.5 kilometer. Towards the left of the figure, you can see the value clearly, 4.5 kilometers. So, and it then enters into 4.5 kilometers below the ground level through an injection well. So here we can clearly see that through an injection well, the water is slowly pumped down. Then what is happening? This cold water is now entering into the geothermal zone where hot rocks are present. Now that stage should be represented. Next, now this is a sequencing word. Next, the cold water is passed through the geothermal zone where the cold water gets heated up by the hot rocks present in this zone. That's it. You can use simple vocabulary. Please do not try using a lot of synonyms which are not related to the topic and confuse yourself. Okay, then what happens in the subsequent stages? The water thus heated is then pumped up through the production well. So what is happening? Through the production well, the water thus heated is then pumped up. Okay, pumped up, and all these pumped up through the production well into the condenser. So this hot water is then entering the condenser. So till here we are going to write the first body paragraph. And one more sentence I have added here is, all these steps takes place beneath the surface of the ground. So, or below the ground level. Since I have already used the term below the ground level, I don't want to repeat that. So that's why I have used the phrase beneath the surface of the ground. So now this completes the first body paragraph. How to write the second body paragraph? The last two stages in the process of geothermal energy production. Last two stages indicates that I am going to talk about two more stages before I finish the report. Okay, so the last two stages in the process of geothermal energy production take place above ground. Above ground is nothing but above the surface. Then let's see how to continue. So here in the first body paragraph I have stopped with the stage where the hot water is pumped into the condenser. So I'll start once again from there itself. Once the hot water is pumped up into the condenser, it gets condensed and steam is formed. So as you can clearly see, just beside the condenser there is a word called steam. So what happens in this condenser? The water gets condensed into water vapor, which is called steam. Now the in the final stage, so what is happening in the final stage? Stage number 5, the steam is passing into the turbine and then electricity is generated by the generator and it is then passed into the electrical grid. It is also called electric grid. Okay, so in the final stage, this steam passes through a turbine which rotates continuously to generate electricity, which is then transferred to the electric grid. So this is how to describe it, and via a generator the turbine is rotating and the generator is producing the electricity and then it is transferred to the electrical grid. So you don't need to write any conclusion because in the overview paragraph itself we have given a good orientation where the process is starting and where it is ending. So it is not required to write any conclusion. And as you can clearly see, the question prompt is not asking you to state your opinion. So please avoid giving your opinion. So this is how to write the structure, and I hope all of you have understood how to describe a given diagram using the hints that you see in the figure and what are the sequencing words that can be used. So if you found this video helpful, please do like this, share it with all your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel World of English Exams. So we are coming up with a series of vocabulary videos as well, guys. So we have already released one video showing the synonyms for the 20 most commonly used words in IELTS writing. So for that video you have to visit our YouTube channel World of English Exams. So stay tuned for more interesting videos. Until I see you with the next video, happy preparation, guys.